don't do this. What? To dig the dust enclosed here. Don't dig the dust which is within this tomb. Blessed be the man, okay, who spares these stones. So nobody should disrupt this or move these stones, and cursed be he that moves my bones. So this is a kind of a blessing and a curse that Shakespeare puts on his grave. Sometimes it is also called as Shakespeare's curse, but that's all nonsense, okay? There is no curse here. The point is, it is a reminder that please don't disturb my resting place. Are you able to understand this? So if you can see this, what does this grave tell you? Is it a very elaborate tomb, or is it something simple? Nothing there. It's just a piece of a slab of stone, right? So yeah, just one plaque there, the grave of the poet William Shakespeare, and the dates are given. Anyway, this is Shakespeare's tomb. Now, this is the first folio, 1622. Can you see that? Now, this is the picture that most of you are familiar with, yes or no, of Shakespeare, right? Can anyone give me some response? Yeah, right. This is the earliest woodcut which was used in a printing, 1622, the first folio of Shakespeare's plays. Now this is a quarto, 1594 quarto. Look at the size, it's smaller in size, right? Dimensions. The most lamentable romance, that is romance. The most lamentable Roman tragedy of Titus Andronicus. This is one of the plays of Shakespeare. So 1594, this is the quarto from the Folger Library, Washington, D.C. Now, coming to the play, The Tempest is the last play of Shakespeare, which Wilson Knight considers to be symbolic. This play is symbolic of Shakespeare's own view of life and theatre. It's also seen as a kind of a farewell to theatre, as though Shakespeare was bidding goodbye or farewell to his profession as a playwright. Okay, so this play can be read on those lines. Now, why is that? So we will see shortly. Now, the first performance was in 1611, and it was performed before King James I at Whitehall. Okay, and again, a second performance was given somewhere in 1612. Okay, and again 13. This is coinciding with a visit of the German Prince Elector, okay, Palatine, who came to visit James. Not only that, there was also an occasion that he was marrying James' daughter Elizabeth. Okay, so this is a play which is performed before the royal audience. This was not something that was performed earlier in Globe or the Swan. Okay, so, and some scholars say that the mask scene which is added, or which is added in this particular play, we don't know what was the form of the play in 1611. Okay, but this second performance carried a mask, or what is a mask? An art form with dance and music and costume. Okay, so now there is a mask in The Tempest. It comes, in the scene where Ferdinand and Miranda are married. Okay, so there is this mask which celebrates wedding or marriage. according to some scholars, has been added by Shakespeare because this was presented before a royal audience, and the occasion was the wedding of Elizabeth, not Elizabeth first, the Queen, please, sorry. James I's daughter Elizabeth, okay, not Henry VIII's daughter. James I's daughter Elizabeth and the German Prince Elector Palatine. So critics see many similarities between the later comedies or romances of Shakespeare, most notably in the play As You Like It. Are we clear till here?
Yes, sir.
Right. Why was the play performed? Okay. Where was it performed? Okay. And what was the immediate context? Now, since it is a comedy, let me just tell you what a comedy is, and then I quickly move. Okay. Now, can anyone read it quickly for me? Comedy.
Sir, may I?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Comedy. Sir, is that J.K.
Comos.
Okay. Greek commerce, revel, merrymaking. A work, particularly a dramatic work, which is designed to amuse and divert through its deception of traditionally everyday characters and situations, and its delivery of a happy resolution. Should I continue, sir?
Yeah, continue.
The characters and their discomfitures, is that the right pronunciation, sir?
Correct, exactly, correct.
Engage our pleasurable attention rather than our profound concern. No great disaster occurs, and usually the action turns out happily for the chief characters.
Thank you, but you can pause there. I will ask you again to read out, okay? Now,
yes, sir.
Now the word comedy comes from the Greek word komos, meaning merrymaking or, to make things lively or happy. Now this is, what does comedy deal with? Now comedy is not something that ends happily, please. And tragedy is not something that ends sadly, okay? Sadness by itself is not a hallmark of tragedy. Now, tragos, anyway, I'll talk about it later. So komos is happiness, merrymaking. Now this is to look at ordinary situations in life. A narrative or a representation, literary or dramatic, poetic in lesser sense, but mostly in fiction and drama. A narrative which represents characters in their ordinary state and looks at their interactions, their absurdities, okay, and as a sort of amusement, meaning you are not actually criticizing them. Of course, in a satire it happens. You are only amused at the human conditions, its absurdities, its situations. So the characters suffer little, not tragic suffering. They are put through a lot of trouble sometimes. So they pass through different phases, but all that is filled with pleasure and humor, rather than engaging our profound concern. In a tragedy, we are moved to think about things profoundly because they are concerning matters of great importance. But in comedy, there's nothing profound, but we are always assured that no harm will come to the characters, no great harm will come to the characters, and there will be a resolution of whatever the problems that the characters go through. Finally, there is a resolution, there is a denouement, there is a complexities are unraveled, misunderstandings are explained. So everything, all is well that ends well, that kind of thing. So this is basically a comedy. Now comedy is also sometimes used to look at society, look at the evils of society in a lighter way. Something like, most of the time comedy evokes laughter, and through laughter you are looking at your life, the ordinary life critically. Now, comedy is something ordinary, okay? Not like tragedy, which is extraordinary. Are you able to understand now what comedy is?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Quickly, because this play is considered as a pastoral romantic comedy, let us quickly look at what is romantic comedy. Quickly. Yeah, go ahead, ma.
Romantic comedy was developed by Elizabethan dramatists.
Developed, okay, developed.
Developed. Okay, thank you, sir. Developed by Elizabethan dramatists on the model of contemporary prose romances such as Thomas Lodge's Rosalind 1590. Such comedy represents a love affair that involves a beautiful and engaging heroine, sometimes disguised as a man. The course of this love does not run smooth, yet overcomes all difficulties to end in a happy union. The Tempest follows classical unities, strictly unlike other Shakespearean plays.
Thank you. Now, what is a romantic comedy? Now, romantic comedy is, it has all the elements of a comedy. Added to the plot is the love affair. There is a love affair, okay? Something like boy meets a girl or a girl meets a boy kind of thing, okay? So, a romantic comedy represents a love affair, which involves a heroine, of course, okay, who is beautiful, obviously, okay? And in some cases, in some of the plays, in some situations, she is disguised as a man. So the disguise forms a very important, function, or it is used as a device in many of the narratives. We must have come across such narratives, okay, where the heroine, okay, is sometimes disguised as a man, and then, well, their love obviously cannot run smooth, okay. There are some obstacles, there are hindrances, there are complications, as in dramatic, in a language plot, you call them complex, complication, okay. So there is an exposition, there is a complication, there is an unraveling. So, but finally, they overcome the difficulties. Sometimes there is a rival, there is a villain, okay. But nothing very disastrous comes out of it. No great harm is done. Nobody gets killed, or and things are resolved and everything ends happily. All is well that ends well. Of course, that doesn't happen in life, but all ends well, and there is a happy union. Usually ending in marriage. Are you able to understand it? Because marriage as a trope is used to signify, life, continuity, coming back to life, spring, and all that. So, this is these two concepts. If you understand, then I think you will be able to read the play, either not only this play but any other comedy of Shakespeare or other playwrights. Now, I'll talk about classical unities. Now, classical unities in the play are, now see, according to the Greek practice, the representation of a play, the representation in a play must correspond to the real. Okay, meaning the action that is represented must take place in one particular place. For instance, the first scene, the first act is in Hyderabad. The second act also has to be somewhere in Hyderabad. You cannot have it in Mumbai, for the simple reason that, realistically speaking, the characters cannot move or travel to Mumbai within the real time. Am I making sense?
Yes, sir.
That is called unity of place. Now, unity of time is the action should cover what happens within a day, okay, not more than that, okay. So 24 hours, whatever action happens, it has to be represented. That is unity of time. Unity of action, of course, every playwright uses this because everything that is within the play, every incident, every event should contribute to the overall unity of the play. This all credible artists follow. Now Shakespeare never followed the unities of time and place in his plays because his actions take place in different places, in different time zones. So this is the only play, the last play, wherein you find him strictly following the three classical unities. Are we clear? Any questions about time, place and action here?
Sir, time and action, can you repeat it again, sir?
Unity of time means the action that is represented in the play must cover not more than 24 hours. Okay? That is, if it begins in the morning, it should end by the next morning. We cannot go beyond that. Place, action must be restricted to those places wherein people can credibly move around. Meaning, if you have an action at one place, place A, it should more or less remain in and around that place, not go beyond. Okay, you cannot take your characters and put them in a different city or different place. So that is the unity of place. Yeah. Now, this is very important. If you want, you can take a snap of this. Okay, because this helps you to understand the significance of not only this particular play but the other comedy of Shakespeare also. So this is from Northrop Frye, the Canadian critic. His very important work is the Anatomy of Criticism. Can anyone read it quickly for me?
Can I, sir?
Yeah, go ahead.
In the Anatomy of Criticism, 1957, Northrop Frye. Yeah, Frye. Okay, thank you, sir. Points out that some of the Shakespeare's romantic comedies manifest a movement from the normal world of conflict and trouble into the green world, the forest of Arden in As You Like It, or the fairy haunted wood of A Midsummer Night's Dream, in which the problems and injustice of the ordinary world are dissolved, enemies reconciled, and true lovers united. Should I continue, sir?
Continue.
Frye regards that phenomenon together with other aspects of these comedies, such as their festive conclusion in the social ritual of a wedding, a feast, a dance, as evidence that comic plots derive from primitive myths and rituals that celebrated the victory of spring over winter.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Now, Frye identifies comedy with the victory of spring over winter, the primitive myth of spring coming after winter. We have seen it in Canterbury Tales also, and you will see it in T.S. Eliot's Wasteland. Okay, April is the cruelest month, breeding lilacs or the dead land. So now the point is, the spring is a victory over winter, life after death. Now, comedy always preserves life. Are you able to understand that? Now, in Shakespeare's romantic comedies, also in The Tempest, there is a movement from the normal world of conflict. For instance, Milan, of which Prospero was the duke. So from the world of civilization, okay, normal world which is full of imperfections and conflicts and difficulties, the characters move into a green world. It could be a forest of Arden, it could be any forest, or the enchanted forest in myths. The forest could function two ways. One is it could be the dark forest, or it could be the enchanted forest, which is good. Those of you who read and who also watch, you would understand that in many of the folk tales and many of the legends and stories, you find that going into the forest could be the dangerous one on one hand, okay, like Little Red Riding Hood. You all know that story, right? Or it could be something that takes you away from the imperfections of the world and gives you a kind of a shelter and all that. So the green world could be Forest of Arden or the wood in Midsummer's Night Dream. So where this is very important, the problems are solved and there is forgiveness. There is enmity, which is enemies are reconciled and lovers are united. So everything good comes out of the forest. Now tell me, in this play, what functions as the forest? If those of you who have already gone through the summary or have read the play, some of you might have, what could be the forest here?
So in this particular drama, it is a deserted island where there are mystical creatures.
Right. Yeah. Good. Thanks. Thank you. This is the island. The island functions as the forest here because the problems are, transported onto the island, and the island offers a solution to these problems. So now, these romantic comedies usually end in a wedding, and wedding is associated with, the primitive myths of what should I say? It's a celebration of life, fertility, abundance, prosperity, and all that. Okay, are we clear till here? I'll move quickly. Okay. Yeah. Have you taken a screenshot of it? Because I thought it was important. Remember this: pride associates comedy, especially Shakespeare's romantic comedies, with the ritual of, the primitive myths of spring triumphing over winter. Now, what are the sources of the play? Now, this also is there in your material, but I think something else is missing, so I quickly wanted. Shakespeare's sources are one, he makes use of contemporary pamphlets. Now, Shakespeare as a playwright, you must understand, borrowed from many sources, like any great writer. So, he borrows from the contemporary accounts of shipwrecks, of the adventures of travelers who have been to the New World. Now here, a little bit of history. 1492, Columbus discovers America, and 1604, the first British colony is established in Jamestown in Virginia. Now Virginia actually is a state now. So Virginia was a colony, one of the first colonies, 13 colonies of America. So now Virginia is named after Queen Elizabeth, who was considered a virgin queen. Elizabeth never married. So Virginia is named after Queen Elizabeth. You must understand this, okay? Like Jamestown is named after King James. So there were stories about 1604, okay? It was founded and the Virginia colony was established. So a new governor was appointed, Sir Thomas Gates, and they set out from England to go to Virginia in America. So their ship got, it floundered and they got shipwrecked there on an island in the Bermudas. The Bermudas are the south of America, Florida and, near Latin America. So, and finally, these islands are mysterious, and then they finally reach Virginia. So this was one account. Can we quickly look at, these are names which are given there, so I will not go over. William Strachey's, and then also, and then Sylvester Jordan's discovery of the Bermudas, And all these passengers and travelers, they invoked the divine providence that there was some plant which protected them from. Now the experience of these shipwrecked people, real people, provided a kind of a, it ignited the imagination of Shakespeare to think of a plot wherein certain passengers traveling are shipwrecked and brought to an island. Okay, can you see the similarities? Please switch off your videos, please. Your cameras, okay? Switch off your cameras. Well, and there is also another pattern that you can discern here. That is, Sir Thomas Gates, who was the governor, who was the new governor of Virginia colony. When he went there, he found that there was already a mutiny. There was already a rebellion against authority. So the point here is, like there is a plot to kill Prospero and Alonso on the island. These real events also had those certain similarities. Are we clear till here? Yeah. Now second source is the French essayist, okay, Michel de Montaigne, okay. He wrote an essay on the cannibals. Of course, the opposition between Western civilization and then the Native American civilization. Now see, you must understand that the word Indian, when it is referred to in European context, doesn't refer to Indians from South Asia, but it refers to excuse me, some of you can switch off your cameras, please. I can't. Maybe I think I'll put it here. Right. Okay. So this essay on cannibals. So you can see the opposition of the civilized and the native, and then of course Gonzalo's ideas of utopia. Third one is Commedia dell'arte or Commedia soggetto, it was called. This is an improvised kind of a drama. One particular scene called Litre Satiri, okay, wherein there is a reference to, a plot, okay, an islander plots with the Europeans to steal a magician's book, and they try to control, and finally they are defeated. The point here is, magician with the book, you can see the similarities to Prospero, right? Who is the magician, and also who is the duke. And the subplot of Caliban, Stefano, and Piculo trying to plot against Prospero is something that Shakespeare perhaps could have gained from these visiting theaters in London of his time. This is an Italian theater, Commedia dell'arte. Now these are the main characters. One of you quickly read this one for the benefit of others.
Characters: the inhabitants of the island. Prospero, the rightful Duke of Milan, a magician who can control the elements.
Excuse me, it is Milan.
Okay, sir.
Don't say okay, repeat it again so that you will find this. Okay.
The rightful Duke of Milan, a magician who can control the elements. Miranda, his daughter, who has been on the island since she was a young child and has only seen two men, Prospera and Caliban, in that time. Caliban, a savage who was the original inhabitant of the island and is now slave to Prospera. He is the son of the witch Sycorax, who was banished to the island. Ariel, a spirit who can fly and change shape. Ariel was originally Sycorax's servant, but as a punishment for disobeying her, she had confined him inside a pine tree. Prospero rescued him, and Ariel is now his servant.
Thank you, Ma. Now the point here is, these characters I have grouped them into two. Okay, of course, three mariners, but of course we can forget the mariners. Prospero is a Duke of Milan, but his kingdom has been taken away from him by his brother, okay, Antonio. So now he is a lover of books and magic, so he is a magician. He can control Miranda, his daughter. He was a child when he was banished, so now she has grown up to be a young girl, so Miranda, and she has not seen any other human beings, okay, except Prospero and Caliban, because Ariel is a spirit. Caliban, now the spellings are, Prospero spelling, I'm sorry, I couldn't correct it, okay. So Caliban is a native, original inhabitant, he is aboriginal. Now the word aboriginal, what does aboriginal mean? Can anyone quickly tell me? What is aboriginal? We talk about
original inhabitants of the island.
Right. Now when you talk about the Andaman and Nicobar or many other places, South America, Brazil, okay, or Africa or any other places, you will find that some people have been there from time immemorial. They are the original inhabitants. So Caliban, actually, the word Caliban derives from the Caribbean, the word Carib also, in Latin America. So in the West Indies, okay. So usually they were referred to as people who are cannibals and who are, barbarian and all. This is all Western imagination, okay. So Caliban is a savage who actually is the rightful inhabitant of that island, and his mother, Sycorax, was owning or was living there, and and he is enslaved by Prospero. This is Caliban. Caliban is a very important character in the play. Third is Ariel. Ariel is the opposite. He is a spirit, and he can change shape. He can be invisible. So Ariel was imprisoned by Sycorax in a pine tree. Okay, and Prospero rescues him, and he becomes his slave or servant. Both Caliban and Ariel both are slaves, sort of slaves to Prospero, and both of them are in search of freedom. So these are the inhabitants of the island. Are we clear till here? Prospero, Miranda, Caliban, Ariel.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, can anyone read this for me? The mariners.
May I, sir?
Anyone, yeah.
Okay, mariners, ship's passengers, members of the royal court. Alonso, king of Naples, he helped Antonio to supplant Prospero. Ferdinand, his son. Sebastian, Alonso's brother. Antonio, the upsurging Duke of Milan.
Sorry, just a second. It is usurping.
Okay, usurping Duke of Milan, brother of Prospero. Gonzalo, an honest old counselor who helped Prospero when he was supplanted by Antonio, long-winded but worthy. Trinculo, the court jester.
Yeah.
Trinculo, the court jester. Stefano, the royal butler, drunken.
Thank you, Ma. Now see, these are the actually outsiders or people who come from the civilized world. Okay, they are returning from Tunisia, Tunis, which is the north coast of Africa. So you must understand that, Alonso helped Antonio. Antonio is a brother of Prospero. So since Prospero is devoted to his studies, he gives his charge of the kingdom to his brother Antonio. So Antonio, takes away. Usurp is to take something by force which is not yours, usually a position. So usurp a place, usurp a seat, usurp a position. So Antonio usurps his brother's position, and he puts Prospero and his daughter on a raft Gonzalo helps them by placing books of Prospero and also some food and water. That's how they survive. So Antonio and Sebastian is Alonso's brother. Ferdinand is Alonso's son. Sebastian again has similarities with Antonio because Sebastian and Antonio both plot against Alonso. They want to kill him off in his sleep on an island. And Gonzalo is a trusted counselor of Prospero. He is very kind and he is also very idealistic, utopian. Okay, and he talks a lot. Of course, you have another pair, Trinculo and Stefano, the royal jester and the royal. These are the characters of the play. Will you be able to remember them? I am leaving out all other characters. For the exams, these characters are important. Okay? One second. Now this is the...
Yes, sir.
Now we begin with what exactly is the play. Now there is something that happens before the play. I just want you to, maybe you can take a snap of it. I'll summarize it. What happens before the play begins, before Act 1, Scene 1, is 12 years had, passed, before 12 years, okay? Now Prospero, who was the Duke of Milan, was dispossessed by his own brother. What is the brother's name? Antonio. Antonio, with the help of King Alonso of Naples. Okay? So he takes the help of the King of Naples and removes his brother Miranda, the daughter, and Prospero are put on a boat, and then Gonzalo helps them, and Prospero lands on an island, okay, and this island is the island of Sycorax. So and Prospero takes the kingdom from Sycorax, enslaves Caliban, tries to educate him first, okay, and then also releases Ariel from his captivity, and he is now the master of the island. This is what happens before the play begins. Clear? Now, at the scene 1, beginning, a very realistic portrayal of the storm. Okay? Now, if you read the play, you will understand that there is so much of imagery there, a very vivid imagery. And then it begins with Alonso and the royal company leaving Tunis. Tunis is, you must understand, the action takes place in the Mediterranean Sea. The Mediterranean Sea is between Europe and north of Africa. Okay? So Tunisia, it's a country which is next to Libya. Okay? Libya, Tunisia, Egypt. Okay? And then Algeria. This is the coast. This is also called the Phoenician kingdoms in the ancient world. Carthaginian kingdoms also during the Roman period. Well, anyway, that's not very important. What is important is they are returning from Tunisia, or Tunis, the place. Now Tunis is the capital of Tunisia, where Alonso's daughter Claribel is married to a king, and it is at this time that Ariel raises the storm. Now the important question is the storm real or not? That's left to your imagination. So the storm, and then their ship is separated from the fleet, and the passengers, the royal passengers and their attendants find themselves on this island. They land in 3 places. First group, Alonso, along with Antonio, Sebastian and Gonzalo, they are on one part of the island. Second, Ferdinand alone is on another part of the island. Third, Trinculo and Stefano are at another point. Okay? But the mariners are there in the ship, and they think that they have lost their royal passengers. This is the beginning. Now, these 3 groups don't meet, okay, till Prospero wants them to meet. Who has created the storm? who wanted the storm to happen? Can anyone quickly answer?
Prospero wanted the storm to happen.
Good. Yeah, Prospero. Now Miranda, obviously she is very kind and very caring, and so she can't see human suffering, and she asks Prospero to do something about it. Okay. Now, through Ariel, Prospero arranges a meeting between Ferdinand and Miranda. Now, he knows what he accuses Ferdinand of deliberately coming to the island to take away his kingdom and plotting to kill him, and also he is imprisoned. Now, Ferdinand and Miranda is a very romantic kind of a story that happens. That Ferdinand and Miranda loves Ferdinand, falls in love, and Prospero makes remarks about how can you love a man, the only man that you have seen so far. Okay, so now Prospero wants to test Ferdinand's love for Miranda. Now in the play, love forms one of the important themes. Okay, now then Caliban meets the other group. The first group, one group, but the first shipwrecked person is Ferdinand. Miranda meets him. The second, Trinculo and Stefano, they both met by Caliban, and Caliban doesn't like Prospero, so he gets drunk. He's introduced to drinking, and then they plot to murder, Prospero. And Ariel puts an end to that, and then he performs tricks on them, and they are, they are put to a lot of trouble. And now, finally, Prospero gives his approval to the betrothal of Miranda and Ferdinand. Okay. Well, now then we meet another group, the king. Okay, who grieves the loss of his son. He thinks that Ferdinand is dead, and Prospero now puts an end to the charm, and Prospero now performs his magic on this group. Everybody is induced into sleep except Antonio and Sebastian. Okay. Now here we find that Antonio and Sebastian both are again plotting here. Their old nature and self. They are basically malefactors. Okay. So they want to kill Alonso so that Sebastian can be the king. Okay. Now, and at this point of time, they see a vision. Okay. Alonso, Antonio, and Sebastian, the three of them see a vision where they are convicted of their own evil. They are told that they have become insane and they are mad. Except Gonzalo. Gonzalo doesn't see any vision because there is no guilt in him. He hasn't done anything wrong. Now this is a very powerful kind of a description by Shakespeare, wherein the hallucination or the thin line that separates sanity and insanity. Are they mad or are they sane? Are they guilty because they are mad, or has the guilt made them mad? So these are the questions that Shakespeare raises through his poetry here. Okay. Now they are convicted. They know that they have done wrong, but except Alonso, the others are not willing to take that blame. And now here again Prospero continues to take revenge on the people who usurp his throne. Okay. And finally when Ariel intercedes. So the whole idea of revenge and forgiveness. Okay. Forgiveness is something that's very much prominent in this particular play. Now Prospero is filled with revenge. He wants to teach them a lesson, and he doesn't know where to stop. So Ariel stops and intervenes and says that, well, put an end to that. So enough is enough. So now he wants to give up his magic now. And well, so the company of the royal company of Alonso, Stefano, okay, Alonso and his brother Antonio, okay, is brought to Prospero's cell, where Ferdinand and Miranda are seen playing chess. Now the game of chess, okay, here. So now Alonso repents and then renews his pact with Antonio, and well, now Ferdinand and Miranda, they are the future. So the old enmities are now, given up in favor of a new beginning. So this is a symbolic kind of a union between Ferdinand and Miranda. Okay. Now, by this time, Ariel brings the mariners, and however, Sebastian and Antonio both are unchanged. They don't repent. Now, in Shakespeare's comedies, romantic comedies also, you'll find that there is always a character who feels left out and who could possibly become a tragic character, who could become a villainous character in a tragedy. So you must look out for that character. So here, Sebastian and Antonio, they don't feel sorry for what they have done. So there is this danger still lurking in them. Now, Caliban again regrets his alliance with Stefano and Trincello, and well, he re-inherits his kingdom because Prospero now gives up his magic. He's already dressed as a duke, so he wants to take up again the dukedom of Milan and then live his life and wait for his death. So, and one last errand for Ariel is to, provide safe winds, okay, favorable winds for the safe passage of this royal fleet. So now, at the end, Prospero addresses the audience on the stage and prays, okay, and then as a kind of a goodbye to his favorite audience. So this is what the summary of the play is about. Now, have I been able to tell you the story quickly? If you say yes, I will proceed. Anybody awake?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, the story is clear.
Yeah, some of you are awake. Okay, I'm happy. But others, I don't know. Well, now, quickly, let us look at the themes of the play. So the first is, like Faustus, Prospero also is seen as a Renaissance man because, of his learning, of his desire to know more and more. So that, in that sense, Prospero embodies the Renaissance notions about knowledge. Okay, so, and it is linked to, again, science and magic, because James I was also involved in magic. In a sense, he wrote a book about magic, opposing it. So now here you have different kinds of magic. You have Sycorax, who is a worshipper of the Pantagonian god Setibos. Patagonia is a part of Argentina, south of America. Okay, so Sycorax, her magic is something that is negative, so black, dark magic. Whereas Prospero is seen as a kind of white magic, or magic that produces, good, or which is a source of knowledge, a kind of an inquisitive spirit. So the reference of Dr. John Dee, a very famous scientist of that time, of course he had problems, but you can look up Dr. John Dee, who was a great experimenter and scientist at that time, and who provided a lot of help to the navigators in their explorations. So this is something that you can look up. And also consider the role of magic in the play. Now, because the entire play is built on magic, because Ariel creates the magic, Ariel creates the storm, Ariel enchants, Ariel induces sleep and dreams. Okay? So the point here, and the voices on the island. So what role does magic play in the Tempest? So you can look at the purposes of magic. Prospero, why does he create this storm, or why does he use the magic? He uses magic for a purpose of solving the problems. Are you able to understand that? So for him it was an instrumental, it was an instrument to a particular end or a particular purpose. Comparing this kind of magic to that of Sycorax, okay, that is something that you need to look up in the play. And Prospero, towards the end of the play, renounces his magic, because now no longer does he require magic, because his end is fulfilled. Then the third theme is the discovery, colonization, and travelers' tales. I already referred to this. There are a number of references to, though the action takes place on an island in the Mediterranean, there are references to Bermudas, there are references to the Caribbean islands, there are references to the colonies in Virginia. So America and the native Indians, the American Indians. So there are a lot of references in the play. So the play talks about discovery, control, colonization, exploring, annexing territories. So this is something that Prospero could be seen as a colonizer, okay, in one sense. Then another theme is political intrigue. That is the theme of plotting against a ruler. Now in Macbeth you can see that Macbeth kills Duncan and takes away his kingdom. Hamlet's father is killed by his brother Claudius. Okay, so the point here is, from tragedies you find certain themes coming here. That is, there is a political kind of an intrigue, which is reminiscent of tragedies like Macbeth. The struggle for power, and again, the disturbing of order will have consequences. Killing of a king or usurping somebody's position is disturbing the great chain of being. Now the great chain of being, I'll tell you what it is. During the Elizabethan period, this was an idea that from the heavens to the earth there exists an unseen chain. This refers to the interrelatedness of everything that is created. From the divine to the lowest of the organisms, there is a connection. Now, this is given. Now, you cannot disturb this kind of a chain. Now, when Prospero is usurped, his kingdom is usurped by Antonio, or Sebastian tries to usurp Alonso's kingdom. Now, they are disturbing order. Okay, so the restoration of order is something very important in the play. Then, of course, love, marriage. Now, love as a theme, love as a kind of a reconciliating kind of a spirit, which brings people together. And then, of course, Prospero's injunction to Ferdinand about chastity and marriage and all that. So, yeah, you can look at love as being a very important, because it's through love that the rivalries of the old are resolved and a new beginning is made. Okay, and the sixth theme is nature and nurture. This is very important, because now Shakespeare always toyed with this idea. Now, when you look at the New World, that is the discovered world of America, that was seen as a symbol of nature, which is untouched, uncorrupted by human civilization. Now, is that state better, or does nature need man's art or man's shaping influence? So, these nature and art, these are the two binaries. For instance, if you take Caliban to be representative of nature at its lowest level, and Prospero as a representative of art at its highest form, now you decide, you think about it. What is the relationship between these two? European civilizations were seen as opposed to the idealized nature of the new Americas, the two continents that were discovered at that particular time. So now, nature was seen as an embodiment of good and also evil, which needs to be tamed, which needs to be groomed, which needs to be corrected by human intervention. So this is something that you can explore in your answers. Then, nurture and education, meaning something that exists in its pure state of nature, unless it is groomed, unless it is shaped into something, it doesn't grow perfect. So now Shakespeare presents two educative processes in this play. One is the education of Caliban. What kind of effect did the education of Caliban have? And also the education of Miranda. Prospero teaches both, and both, shape up into two different entities. Another theme, very important, is redemption. What is redemption? To redeem, meaning, you find a solution for your own fault. So the redemption is a theme. Renewal through younger generation. This is the insight that E.M.W. Tilliard and also Wilson Knight gives us. That the play is about forgiveness. Of course, in some of the commentaries, Shakespeare, Prospero's words are interpreted as a recitation of the part of the Lord's Prayer, like forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those that trespass against us, meaning that forgive us as we forgive others. So Prospero seems to be doing that in this particular play. Then a very important and examination also, you might be asked to answer this, the theme of colonialism in the play, meaning Prospero taking over the island from Sycorax, enslaving Caliban, reducing Caliban to a beast. Okay, the negative descriptions of Caliban. Okay, the moral authority of Prospero to control what actually did not belong to him, and the dehumanization of the inhabitants, the original aboriginals. So these are the questions, and Shakespeare doesn't provide easy answers. Now he problematizes the whole enterprise of colonialism, the exploration and then annexing of the new found lands. Of course, a very important theme that runs through the play is appearance and reality. What is real? What is appearance? Is Ariel's storm real? Is Miranda really seeing the real? Has Ferdinand seen the real thing? Or Alonso and Sebastian and Antonio, are their visions and are their dreams real? And finally, the whole effect of the entire representation of this play on the reader, on the audience. So Shakespeare presents a lot of problems, okay, for the audience and the readers in the play. Of course, I think that's where I'll end. Quickly, your responses, please. Did I put you to sleep, all of you? I think nobody seems to be awake.
Excuse me,
No,
sir,
sir.
we are listening.
You have come back from your sleep. Okay, yeah. Some of you are listening, actually. So,
we are listening, sir. We are listening.
Okay. No, I was just, okay. So I hope that you will be able to make use of this and make use of the instruction material that is given to you, and I think you will be in a position to answer the questions. Important thing is that how to attempt in an examination. In an examination, please avoid certain things. Don't go on talking about the playwright. Shakespeare was this, Shakespeare wrote so many things, Shakespeare this, Shakespeare that and that. So please keep the introduction to a minimum and then straight away get into the answer. That is what exactly is asked. So basically sometimes now discuss basically focus on important characters like in Prospero, obviously Prospero, Caliban are the two major characters. Okay. Ferdinand and Miranda's love, of course, that's not very, very central to the play. Of course, it occupies a central position, but not as central as the opposing forces of Caliban and Prospero. Now, The Tempest as a play which dramatizes colonialism. Now, we already discussed that the theme of colonialism in the play, beginning from Prospero coming to the island and then taking it away from the hands of Sycorax and enslaving Caliban and Ariel and all that kind of thing. So, yeah, that's how you go about it. A short answer must be short, a long answer must be long. Okay, an essay question. And in the present context, I think you will be left with much choice. You'll be given, I think, ample choice. So, yeah. Anything else?
Excuse me, sir. Good
So
evening.
what are the symbols of this contest, sir?
Pardon?
Symbols. Means we have discussed symbols.
Symbol, I don't think there are any symbols here. Of course, everything is a symbol here. The magic is a symbol, okay. The whole island is a symbol. Marriage becomes a symbol. Dream becomes a symbol. Are you able to understand that? Okay. See, what is a symbol? Anything that carries a meaning beyond its own reference, that is a symbol. So if you say the island is a symbol here, symbol of what? You could say symbol of innocence, symbol of perfection, okay, kind of thing. Yeah, I saw it could be in your, where is it? Yeah, you are reading from your instruction material, I know. There is some symbol there. What are the symbols given? Everything becomes a symbol. Don't forget about it, okay? Yeah. In this particular play, the basic questions would be about the use of magic in the play. Okay, the supernatural and the natural in the play. The character of Prospero and Caliban. Are you able to understand it? The major themes in the play. These are the things that you will be asked. So don't worry. Okay? And if you have any questions, and after reading either the summary or the text, you can always ask me in my next class. Okay? Right?
Sir, just one thing about the characterization of Ariel. Will there can be a possibility that can we get characterization of Ariel as well?
As a major question, no. As an essay question, no. Because even if it is, see, one thing I'll tell you, even if it is asked, look at how you can use your knowledge to answer any question. For instance, let us assume that they ask a question on Ariel. You will be wondering, what should I write about Ariel? Ariel is not a human being. So, what are his characteristics? He was imprisoned and then he was freed by Prospero. That is okay. But you can again go back to the whole story and say that how the play begins with Ariel's magic, how Ariel is actually the very important, important instrument in the play who does everything in the play. So whatever happens is because of Ariel, right? Now, have I been able to answer you now?
Yes, sir.
See, use whatever you know, and then turn it around to fill in. Okay. So if you say, if somebody asks about Miranda, okay, then Talk about Miranda's relationship with his father, okay? And then Miranda's relationship with Ferdinand, how she looks at human beings, her response to Caliban, and how does she feel for Caliban? Does she feel sorry for him? How does she feel for Ariel? Okay? So, is he a prisoner like Caliban? Is he imprisoned by Prospero? Is Prospero a dominating father? Does she have the choice or freedom? Because Ferdinand, does Prospero see to it that she falls in love with Ferdinand? These are the ways in which you can answer. Use your creativity. Yeah? Okay.
Sir, do we have to answer in like technical language, or can we write the answers in our own words?
You see, use the form, the requirements of an academic writing. In a sense, don't use very informal words like guy, okay, and all that kind of thing. Okay, don't use conversational kind of a style. Right? Right? Formal. You don't need to be technical, but you need to be formal. I think I have. Yeah, my time is up now. I think.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, we'll catch up later. I have a couple of classes to go, so you can bring whatever you want in the next class. We will discuss. Okay. Right.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Have a nice
Thank you, sir.
week ahead. Bye bye.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.